If you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business.
Wow, people love me.
Disney's long-awaited Snow White remake has officially become a nightmare of epic proportions. What was once marketed as a bold, modern retelling of a beloved fairy tale has now gone down in history as one of the biggest flops the entertainment giant has ever seen. From empty theaters to industry backlash, the film's failure has left both Disney and its lead actress, Rachel Zegler, scrambling for damage control.
To keep talking about Snow White, because Disney's Snow White remake, the box office has suffered a 66% drop in the second weekend of showing. So the film's flop could end up costing Disney millions of dollars. We know that the movie is currently one of the lowest IMDb rated movies of all time, receiving a 1.6 out of 10 rating. It's generated $143 million globally to date, which is well short of the $250 million that Disney has spent producing the film, and that doesn't even include the marketing expenses.
Let's break down the 10 shocking reasons why this box office disaster has become the cautionary tale of Hollywood in 2025. The numbers don't lie. Snow White didn't just underperform, it bombed spectacularly. Despite Disney pouring over $250 million into the film's production, the global box office returns capped at a dismal $195 million. That figure doesn't even include marketing expenses, which often add another $100 million or more to the total cost. This means Disney is staring down a potential $145 million loss. To make matters worse, the film received one of the lowest IMDb ratings of all time, a 1.6 out of 10. Fans and critics alike slammed the film for its poor storytelling, unrecognizable characters, and what many saw as a complete betrayal of the original classic. Instead of reviving a fairy tale favorite, Disney ended up releasing a movie audiences outright rejected. The magnitude of this failure has forced the company to take a hard look at its current creative direction, and its star, Rachel Zegler. By mid-April 2025, Snow White had been dropped from over 1,200 theaters across the US. It started out with a strong release in approximately 3,750 locations, but by its fourth week, it was showing in just 2,540. The reason was painfully obvious. No one was buying tickets. Box office trackers like Forbes confirmed that some showings had as few as 3 attendees, and by the end of April, average per-screen revenue dropped to just $53 per day. That's not just low, it's catastrophic. Theater owners had no choice but to pull the plug and make room for more profitable films like Minecraft the Movie and Captain America: Brave New World. Disney's once proud rollout of Snow White turned into a record-setting retreat. No one expected a major Disney property to crash and burn this hard, but audiences sent a clear message. They were not interested in this version of the classic tale. If you logged onto social media during the first few weeks of Snow White's release, you probably saw the viral posts, empty theaters, crickets during opening weekends. In one now infamous TikTok, a woman records herself walking into a completely deserted screening. But the most shocking viral moment came when Rachel Zegler herself was spotted sitting alone in a nearly empty theater. That video exploded online, with millions of views and brutal commentary. What was supposed to be a triumphant premiere for Rachel ended up as a meme symbolizing the film's collapse. Public perception matters in Hollywood, and when even your lead actress is caught alone in a ghost town screening, it sends a powerful and damning message.
Move on to lighter news now, and a news that will surprise, well, none of us. Disney's live-action remake of Snow White is officially one of the biggest flops in Hollywood history.
In the wake of the disaster, Rachel Zegler all but vanished from the spotlight. Sources close to the actress say she moved to New York City to escape the negative attention and avoid the relentless media scrutiny. Fans even spotted her riding the subway. An unusual sight for a leading lady once hailed as Hollywood's next big thing. Rachel reportedly stopped doing interviews, canceled public appearances, and has gone into what some insiders call crisis mode. For someone who was once the face of Disney's diversity-forward casting, the fall from grace has been swift and brutal. It's a sobering example of how quickly fame can evaporate in an industry that moves fast and forgets even faster. Zegler, who once had multiple films lined up, is now reportedly finding it hard to land new roles as the cloud of controversy continues to follow her. Disney's problems didn't stop at the American box office. The film's international performance, especially in China, was equally embarrassing. Despite extensive marketing efforts, including posters in apartment elevators and promotional pushes in major cities, Snow White was met with near-total apathy. One reporter in Shanghai noted that only 5 people, including himself and a friend, showed up for an IMAX screening.
As a good reporter, I went to check it out myself yesterday here in Shanghai. Now, including myself and my friend, the entire IMAX cinema had just 5 audience members. And that is despite Disney going all out in their promotion of the film here in China. There was even a poster in the elevator at my apartment complex.
This is in a country where Disney usually performs well. The film's universal rejection, both at home and abroad, suggests that the backlash wasn't just a cultural misunderstanding, it was global disinterest. Even after spending millions promoting the film overseas, Disney couldn't get audiences to care. And when international audiences walk away despite a full-scale media blitz, it says a lot about how far a brand's influence has fallen. Zegler's public image has taken a major hit, and studios are taking notice. Insiders say her political comments during the press tour made her a high-risk name that few producers want to be associated with. Her behavior during filming was described as controlling, with some claiming she tried to dictate the direction of the movie and even override the creative team. At just 23, Zegler was given immense power, but lacked the experience to manage it wisely. Now, that power has evaporated. Once considered a rising star, she's now viewed as a cautionary tale of what happens when public perception turns against you. Whether fair or not, Hollywood's bottom line is reputation, and Zegler's has never looked worse. Her involvement may not be the only reason Snow White failed, but it's become the most talked about one, and that alone has consequences.
Disney executives were pressuring Gal to defend the Disney agenda and the message behind the film. Gal refused, since she knows her career is at stake. There was one confrontation between both Gal and Rachel, where Gal recently told Zegler herself that she was the sole individual that tanked the entire film at the box office.
Rachel Zegler's co-stars have started distancing themselves from the fiasco. Gal Gadot, who played the evil queen, reportedly had a confrontation with Rachel, telling her she was the reason the movie tanked. While Gal didn't name Zegler directly in public comments, she hinted that the project failed due to a lack of teamwork and poor leadership. Behind the scenes, Disney allegedly pressured Gadot to defend Zegler and the film's message. But she refused. The silence from other cast members speaks volumes, and some are now scrambling to separate their careers from the wreckage. The tension behind the scenes became a public affair, with gossip blogs and industry insiders leaking details daily. For Zegler, being abandoned by her own cast has only deepened the perception that she was the source of the chaos and the collapse.
I know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
Rachel Zegler stirred controversy by openly criticizing the original Snow White during her press tour. She called the 1937 classic weird, mocked the prince as a stalker, and celebrated the removal of any romantic storyline from the remake. These remarks didn't just alienate fans, they disrespected the legacy of one of Disney's most iconic films. Her comments about co-star Andrew Burnap, who played the prince, were particularly damaging. Publicly dismissing his role and mocking the original fairy tale storyline caused outrage. For many fans, Zegler's interviews confirmed what they feared. This remake wasn't honoring a classic. It was trying to erase it. Disney tried to spin it as modern and empowering, but for audiences it felt more like a lecture than a story. The backlash wasn't just about the movie, it was about what it represented, and how Zegler became the face of that messaging. The failure of Snow White didn't just tank a single movie, it torpedoed Disney's entire strategy around live-action remakes. The company had banked on nostalgic reboots driving profits for years to come. Now, that plan is on ice. Disney has quietly paused production on its next big remake, Tangled, which was rumored to be the studio's most expensive yet. Executives are reportedly rethinking the entire live-action model, especially after the public backlash against Snow White. With costs rising and audiences losing interest, the once reliable formula of reimagining old classics no longer looks like a sure bet. Worse yet, the backlash has introduced a political layer to Disney's branding problems. Accusations of pushing a woke agenda are now tied directly to its creative choices. And that's a PR war Disney is losing. What began as a simple box office flop has now evolved into a Hollywood cautionary tale. From 1,210 theaters dropping the film, to Disney halting future projects, to Rachel Zegler's uncertain future, the fallout is massive. This disaster has shaken the foundation of Disney's remake strategy and cast a shadow over how much politics and modern messaging should influence classic stories. For Zegler, the consequences may be long-term. With major studios hesitant to cast her and former allies distancing themselves, her once bright future now looks uncertain. The message is clear. No matter how big the budget or the brand, if audiences reject the heart of the story and the faces telling it, the collapse can be swift and brutal. Whether Disney can recover from this remains to be seen. But for now, Snow White stands as a reminder that even the biggest names in Hollywood are just one bad movie away from disaster.